Pop culture seems to enjoy cultivating the notion of everything suddenly dying. Personally, I've got better things to do, but you can't blame them. It appears in all forms of media, from movies, video games, and even television. Can't we escape the idea of the end of the world? Are we doomed forever to morbidly assess about the final existence of the human race, while the memories of what we were slowly dissolve into an indecipherable stain upon the blank canvas that is the universe? Wait, is any of it actually plausible? Are we all going to die in the most horrific way possible? You know, I think I'm slightly concerned.
Okay, let's lay some of these variables down. Each apocalyptic scenario has to pass 3 tests. Test 1. Basically, there has to be some sort of sciencey proof to go along with it. A huge chunk, a medium chunk, a slice of scientific evidence. That's all we need for test 1. Test 2. Basically, this test is all about timescale. When it's going to happen. 100 years? Some of my friends could be involved. 1,000,000 years? Does anybody really care? No, they don't. Test 3. We're going to ask our resident scientist his opinion on the subject.
Meteor strike. The idea of a meteorite entering the Earth's atmosphere and destroying the globe due to extreme seismic activity. Well, is that likely to happen? Collisions have happened, but they've either burned up in the Earth's atmosphere or haven't caused that much damage at all. However, millions of years ago, they are thought to have caused mass extinction.
So, is this going to happen soon? Well, we can't really be sure. It's all just guesswork. The ones that we think are going to hit miss completely. It's most likely that it'll be a completely random event. Now, let's see what our scientist thinks.
Well, the most popular doomsday scenario was probably the meteor strike, i.e. a giant meteor would hit the Earth and kill everything. This scenario is popular because a similar mass extinction event is said to have wiped out the dinosaurs, and as such it is relatively plausible. If the Earth would be hit by a meteor of sufficient size, for example the Moon, it would cause an explosion comparable to hundreds of thousands, perhaps even millions of nuclear weapons.
Supervolcanoes. There's a huge mother flippin' supervolcano underneath Yellowstone Park in America. It would not only destroy the whole of the USA, but it would send volcanic ash into the sky, covering the world and blocking out the sun. Thanks, America.
Timescale wise, same as before. Can't really be predicted when it will happen. All we know is that it's going to happen. So keep your eyes peeled. No, actually don't keep your eyes peeled because all that volcanic ash going everywhere. Do some real damage. Now, back to our science, man.
A scenario comparable to the meteor strike is the supervolcano scenario, where a volcano would erupt so violently that we would all be killed. The means of us dying would be much the same as a meteor strike, since it would depend on creating so much dust in the atmosphere that the sun wouldn't be able to penetrate it, and this would lead to a harsh ice age. This would pretty much entail launching half the Rocky Mountains into orbit, but I guess it's possible.
Global warming, aka the greenhouse effect, is heating up the world. But it's not destroying us.
Timescale wise, climate change has only really just started. No one can really say what's going to happen next because the Earth is just too damn hard to predict. However, it's very unlikely that something serious will happen in our lifetimes. I wonder how hot our scientist is on global warming.
There are 2 versions of the global warming story. 1. The climate gets hotter by 1 degree and all polar ice melts, leading us all to drown. And 2. The climate gets hotter by 2,000 degrees and the whole planet turns into a giant ball of magma. The flooding one is heavily exaggerated by Greenpeace twerps, but possible. The second is a bunch of nonsense.
The Large Hadron Collider, known to his friends as LHC, sends atoms spinning round to try to recreate the conditions of the Big Bang. It is said to have a small chance of creating a black hole, although it has been proven to be 100% safe.
When it's going to happen is an odd question. As long as it's still operating, I guess it has a chance of killing us all. What does our scientist think of the LHC?
Some people currently think that the Large Hadron Collider facility in Switzerland will make a black hole that instantly sucks up the entire Earth and kills us all. Though it is physically possible that they'd make a black hole there, the amount of matter they use would mean the hole would be too microscopic to be of any significance and too unstable to exist for more than even a gazillionth of a second, so this poses no threat at all.
Religion. Honestly, there isn't that much sciencey proof to go with this at all.
I wonder if our scientists can shed some light on the subject.
Religious crackpots have been spouting end-of-the-world nonsense for millennia now, including recently Christians believing the end of the world is nearing because some ancient Maya calendar they found stopped its count there. Such scenarios are of course not science.
An ice age is essentially when the planet freezes over. Scientists aren't that sure what causes this. It could be our mate global warming, or perhaps it's an element of the Earth's life cycle.
Many scientists believe an ice age is just round the corner. This is because ice ages have happened in the past at regular intervals. I wonder what our scientist thinks of this.
Many people think a new ice age could come at any moment and turn us all into human icicles. Though this can happen with sun eclipse events like the meteor and volcano scenarios, the natural course for ice ages would actually be that a current, very mild ice age, yes we are in an ice age, would come to an end and that the polar caps would all melt. This would be very unpleasant of course, but hardly able to kill every single human on Earth.
World War III. I'm talking about nuclear war. I'm talking about where man kills man. I'm talking about when they fire nukes all over the globe and everybody dies to a horrible death.
When it will happen is the big question. You see, nukes are sort of a stalemate card. If every one of the big players has nukes, they sort of cancel each other out. No one with nukes wants to kill everyone, because it's proven by the fact that we're still here. If one nation was to fire a nuke, it would kill a nation, and the other nation would fire nukes, and so on, and then the Earth would just be a big smoking crater. I wonder what our scientist thinks about this.
Many people think the next World War will have nuclear missiles flying around like pigeons and this would destroy the entire Earth. Though of course the big explosions and large amount of highly radioactive material floating around wouldn't be particularly healthy, it's rather arrogant to assume this would destroy the entire Earth, since from the perspective of Mother Earth, these explosions would feel like bacterium jumping up and down on your arm.
Nanobots that self-replicate by consuming everything that exists. Apparently, they would turn the whole world into a sort of grey goo. Scientists are doing a lot of research into this, but for good things like curing diseases.
At the moment, our technology is nowhere near the level of creating this. However, like most technological breakthroughs, it could happen at any time spontaneously. Is this a big or small issue to our scientist?
The sci-fi junkies are particularly fond of the nanobots theory, where newly developed nanobots would suddenly become conscious, self-replicate like hell and turn everything into grey goo. Well, I guess if becoming grey goo at the hands of fictional machinery is to be our fate, then so be it.
Infertility rates are slowly rising. What happens if everybody becomes unable to have children? Well, it's the end of the human race. It's a possibility.
When it's going to happen all depends on how it happens. Naturally? Probably not. Man-made? Well, that could happen tomorrow. What insights does our scientist have for us on this topic?
Some people with a knack for statistics have remarked that the infertility rate among humans is increasing and that this means the human race will go extinct very soon. The glaring error with this theory is of course that the people who become infertile don't procreate and won't be able to pass on their infertility to other people. As such, the most fertile humans would dominate the gene pool and save us from total sterility.
For the last one, I thought it should be something silly. Well, sillier. Basically, grain, or a form of genetically modified grain, would grow everywhere. It would take over the world. We'd have an abundance of food, but we'd lack almost every other resource.
What does our science guy think of this?
However, all these other people, of course, overlook the real problem: grain. Statistics show that the amount of grain on Earth is increasing. Eventually, grain would be the only crop on Earth and take over land everywhere. As a scientist, I cannot stress enough how big this danger is to humanity, and in fact all life on Earth. Therefore, I urge everyone to do all they can to destroy all grain.
Don't be worried. The world isn't going to end. And even if it did, you'd probably be dead before you realised. Until next time,